Yo, what's going on everyone? I got a new video for us today. It's basically just going to be me talking about my thoughts and my initial reaction to the Smite 2 beta. Or, yeah, Smite 2 alpha, that's what I meant. So I got some gameplay going on of, I got a couple clips just of, stuff that I was doing so people can watch the game and see kind of how the game plays out. And then also I got some other, like I got a partial gameplay coming towards the end. It's about 20 minutes of gameplay, so hopefully I don't have to talk the whole 20 minutes, but in case I do, I got a whole lot of, content to watch and stuff to talk about. So I will say one thing about the Smite 2 Alpha, it felt really good. I love the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of, a whole lot of gods. Honestly, I enjoyed that. It was just you basically raw playing the game, which I thought was a whole lot of fun because it was a totally new experience for me, and I know it was a totally, new experience for my friends as well who play the game. The gameplay, like looking at it, it looks a little choppy. You see my FPS dropping a little bit. It's not, not super optimized, I think, for every single computer, but I do still think that, the game is a whole lot of fun and super enjoyable, right? After playing the alpha, I honestly, I never really went. I didn't really want to go back to playing Smite 1, just because I enjoyed playing Smite 2 so much. The way it looks, the way abilities fire off, it's just so much better than Smite 1. It's not even comparable, in my opinion. Now, keep in mind, a lot of the things I am going to say are my opinion on the game and, what kind of where I think it should go, or, what I thought was the best thing about the alpha. But I will say the building was a whole lot of fun. Learning all these new items. Like, if you look down at the bottom left, those are all my items. I don't know if I had a good build or not, but it was fun. I mean, it was fun to just try out new items or, build differently, because you don't really do that in Smite 1. You kind of just, especially in the, jungle role, ADC role, mid role, you kind of build the same thing every single game, especially ADC. Mid, you might go a little different depending on what god you play. Same, maybe I guess same with jungle if you play AA or assassin or ability based assassin. But to me, it's all the same. Your build like doesn't really change a whole lot. So it was cool being able to try out new things and see how good the game was, and that was really enjoyable for me. Another thing that I really enjoyed was, like, obviously the combat. I think the combat was really good. I think you having beads on a cooldown for almost 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, whatever it is. I think that's like super super good. I hated, there's a lot of actives in Smite 1, and I think there's a big issue with that. It's because you go the same actives every single game, no matter what role you're in. Basically, occasionally you go something else. Like if you juggle, you typically go and blink beads almost every single game. If you guardian, you either go and blink, sprint, horrific, maybe medicate, maybe a med, depending on what god you're playing. So solo laner, TP, thorns, blink, beads, whatever whatever it is. It's ADC obviously always beats Aegis, so you build the same actives every single game, which that gets very repetitive, very boring, especially with all the cool actives they have in the game. You don't only go them unless they buff one of them, right? I remember, when Sunder got buffed and there was a tank meta, Sunder was, going all around just because of how tanky everyone was, so Sunder was super viable. So the actives are basically, only good when certain things are viable, which that's why I like the, the beads and items having actives on it. Now, obviously, these, the items will have the same effects of the actives, but I think having them be items is way better than having them be actual actives that you can buy in the game. There is a couple downsides, I think, of the alpha. One, I know I said I like the small god pool, but I, I kind of wish that they, especially for junglers, they really only had two, and that was two assassins. I guess if you count Bologna, but they had two assassins there, both ability based. They had no auto attack assassins in the game, which I was kind of sad about. Mainly just so you could try out different things. Like realistically, whether Smite 1 or Smite 2, the way his kit works, you're not going to build Loki or whoever the other one was. I can't think of him off the top of my head. you're not gonna build them auto attack base. Fenrir, I'm sorry, you're not gonna build them auto attack base at all. Fenrir, first of all, you're gonna build hybrid. This is how Fenrir works. Loki, you're just gonna go full ability based damage to try to one shot people. I do wish that there was some sort of like auto attack hunter, not hunter, auto attack assassin in the game. I wish they would have done that. I think they did a really good job with the hunters, because they had Neath. She could be ability or she could be AA, and they had honor and Cern. Same thing with the solo laners, Bologna, Chalk, right? It was really nice to see the variety for gods. But I do wish that at least the junglers got a little more love, right? It's coming from me as someone who plays in the jungle a lot. I kind of wish that we got more love in the Ooh, that was kind of clean. I'm sorry, but I wish we had gotten some more some more love in the alpha. I'm a call in the beta. I mean alpha every single time. I'm sorry. This is gonna happen. There's a couple things I like definitely did not enjoy about the alpha at all, and that was one. I think the missing of a T tab was very annoying. It was kind of, for me personally, it was hard to build without the T-Tab because I had no idea what items or how much damage I was doing, or even if I played Guardian, I had no idea how tanky I was. I couldn't tell how much I mitigated, whatever, such and stuff like that. So I think that was really hard to tell, if what you're building is really valuable or if you're going in a super wrong direction. I had that issue on Kukulkan a lot. I felt like my tornadoes weren't really hitting that strong, but my one was hitting. My ult felt super weak at times, so I had no idea if what I was going was good, if what I was going was bad. I kind of just, read the items. I kind of just hoped, right? But I think that's the same boat that a lot of people were in. Another thing that I definitely think the next alpha weekend is to have 100% is a report system. The amount of games that I just had people either baby rage and just not play the game in, or they would leave the game. Now, granted, there's probably a lot of issues with their computers not being able to run the game or not. So I guess I can understand that. But I wouldn't report people for something like that. But if they're playing the game and they have 12 deaths and they're spamming VGS and then just leave the game, it's pretty obvious to tell if someone's a rage quit or not, right? If someone's just spamming VGS, if someone's not saying VGS and then just walks out of fountain, pretty obvious DC, right? That could be a game issue that maybe not be a them issue. So those people, obviously you shouldn't report them, especially in an alpha like this, right? Something that's not totally, ready to play on everyone's computer or totally optimized for everyone's enjoyment, right? But I do think that they need a report system really bad because I think that's my biggest issue with my Smite, with the Smite community itself, is there's a lot of people that think either they're better than they really are, or think they know more than they think they know, or play the game like they're the best player in the game, and then if they die once and something doesn't go their way, they just leave. I think that's super annoying, and it's it hurts the game a lot, obviously, just because why even play the game if that's how you're going to play, right? If you're just going to baby rage at the first bad thing that happens. And there's just that happens way more than you think it does, especially in Smite 1. Whether you believe it happens or not, it happens. I promise you it happens. But yeah, report system 100%. Because, one, I don't think if you act like a moron in the first alpha, I don't think you should have access to the rest of the alphas. That's just me. You play the alpha to learn about the game and to experience new things. You don't play the alpha to act like you're the best or to know what you're talking about, whatever. I know that might sound like what I'm doing, but I promise you that's not what it's supposed to sound like. I'm just trying to talk about the game and, whatever. I'm not trying to tell you what to build. I'm not trying to tell you what gods to play, whatever. I'm just trying to talk about the game and my experience. So that's one thing I wish. Looking at it now, looking at Anubis, I do wish there was a bigger variety of items. I felt like a lot of the items were. I felt like there was not a whole lot of good AA items besides the kins. And looking at this right now, I'm gonna go back. I'm sorry, I have this all pulled up. One more thing now that I think about it, one thing that I did not like about the alpha is this. So in Smite 1, it shows you exactly how much damage you are scaling. This just shows a percentage. I really, and also this is not scaled down with the 40% cooldown that I had already had. This stays at that 10%. So, you know, it's obviously less than that. Like I can just do the math myself, but I do enjoy seeing that reflect the items I built, especially here. I wish the scaling would have shown in those little parentheses, right? Unless this is it, then I don't think that's that. But if that is, and I'm horribly wrong, please let me know in the comments below if that's actually what it is. But I think it would show up here is based off how much is scaling based off your power. Sorry about that. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. But yeah, now just looking at the gameplay of the map, I like the map. I think the map has a whole lot of farm. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but these jungle camps in the back, you know, they're very. I don't want to say they're hard to get. One thing that I asked for, you know, in the survey, and people might call me crazy for this, is but I wish these were on a longer cooldown. I think the amount of gold and XP you get out of these is much higher than most people think. They're roughly the same, sometimes even more than the big buff camps. And at max tier, obviously the same, but at smalls, I feel like they give out so much XP, and they respawn at like almost, you know, a minute, 30 seconds. I don't know, whatever it is, but they respawn so fast that it's hard to keep track of everything. So on a shorter cooldown, you know, I think the jungle, like if you look, you know, I'm the highest level in the game. The jungle is, you know, very close. Granted, I have 4 kills, but I think 4 assists, but I think that that farm back here gives out so much more XP than people like give it credit for. So I do kind of wish it was on a smaller cooldown. And now, while we're here at the yellow buff, I think the yellow buff was 100% the worst buff in the game, and they should definitely change how the buff works. So down here, obviously it shows that when you picked up the yellow buff, you got a stacking buff of movement speed. You know, you got whatever percentage it was, plus 3%, something like 3 or 4%, whatever, and it stacks up 3 times. So a total of 12%. But I'm going to go back to kind of talk about what I was saying. But look, see, so I have the stacks. Boom. The second I take damage, all my movement speed is gone. I think that that buff is useless on your junglers. It is horrible on your jungles. Your jungles should never, ever be picking that buff up. Your jungles are probably better off going your red, or they're better off going your purple, or they're better off going your blue. Honestly. And that's really unfortunate because I love the yellow buff. The yellow buff was horrible. It's just like not, you know, it's really frustrating, especially because look, it gets ticks off minions as well. If it didn't get ticks off of minions and only got ticks off of God, maybe I could understand maybe I can understand a little bit more and it'd be a little bit better. So then at least you could clear your jungle much faster. But let's say you pick up this yellow buff and you get damage here, you're gonna have a hard time getting the lane. You're gonna have a hard time clearing out these backs, hard time clearing here, the mids, whatever, trying to invade, right? Because you're bound to take damage from those camps. You're not gonna insta clear the camps at all. So I do wish that there was, you know, I wish that that blue buff, or not the blue buff, I'm sorry, we're here at the blue buff. I think the blue buff is perfectly fine. I think every other buff is fine. I think the red buff might be a little overtuned, but I think the yellow buff is by far the weakest buff in the game. And I wish, you know, obviously, I hope it gets changed in the future to be more viable. I think the yellow buff, or I don't think, I know that the yellow buff is better on almost every single other role in the game besides jungle, which that's not how it should be. Your jungle should be the ones that are moving around the map quickly, right? It'd be pretty. It's. I think the yellow buff was, you know, amazing on supports. When I played supports, I loved picking up the yellow buff because then I could run from lane to lane super fast, and then whatever that I didn't need that damage. I didn't need that movement speed when I started fighting. But yeah, I think there's a lot. There could have been a lot of, you know, more issues. But I think overall, my experience with the alpha was super positive. I'm going to go back here. Look at this. I want to show the one thing I did really enjoy that I'm seeing it. I thought about all these in my head, but seeing them now helps me remind me. Seeing exactly where they are on their level, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a whole lot of fun. You know, super nice for me. Obviously, you see their builds, everything that's the same, but obviously seeing exactly what everyone's going, like you could see just a wide variety of builds. You have full intellect neath, you know, Nems, you know, super high powered Doom Orb, whatever, Eldritch Orb, Divine Ruin, right? I think that these builds are cool, right? I think people kept putting this on Anubis, and I didn't know why. These two items are trash on your mids. I know maybe someone was watching this, maybe want that on mid, and I'm very sorry to tell you this, but this is what happens to you when you go these two trash items in mid. I wish there was more lifesteal items, specifically for mages. We only had this one, and it was this one. But anyways, seeing all that stuff, like, that's kind of your generic base T-tab, but I thought that was, I kind of left this guy die, but it is what it is. But it was a whole lot of fun for me to see all that stuff in the game. I really enjoyed looking at other people's levels to know exactly, let's say I die, and I want to see exactly how far the jungle is ahead of me. You're able to see that just strictly based off of, obviously just pressing tab and looking at their levels. But yeah, I think that obviously my alpha experience was pretty positive. I did have, a decent amount of games where I had some people just acting, acting too young or acting wrong and causing, other people's experiences to fault, like, not be good. I think another thing about this alpha is, for me personally, I think it shows a lot of people don't play Conquest that bought the Founders Edition and wanted to try it. That was one thing I constantly saw on the Steam discovery, or not discovery, discussions, and on the Reddit, was people constantly asking for, why is Arena not in the alpha yet? Why is Arena not this? I do not think Arena needs to be in the alpha whatsoever. Arena can go in the beta, that's fine, but I think Arena being in the alpha is a waste of time. First of all, Conquest is the main game mode, whether you think it is or not. Like, that's just it's a fact that it's the main game mode. Most people that play Smite don't play Smite to play Arena. They play Smite to play Conquest. Now, obviously, I think Arena, I have said in the past, I think Arena is a very, needed. It's very needed in Smite, mainly because there's people that do enjoy playing Arena. And, that's one thing that Smite has over most other MOBAs, is they have that casual player base of Arena players, assault players, whatever. And so I do think that it needs that. But I think in the alpha, Arena is totally useless and not good at all. Because the thing is, when you play Arena, all you do is just sit there and spam fight. Which, that's fine. That's cool to learn gods. But we're here to learn about the map. We're here to learn how, objectives work. We're here to learn how buffs work. We're here to learn how farm works. We're here to learn how, EXP scales, whatever. That's what we're here to learn. We're not here to learn, sitting and spam fighting people over and over again. I think that that's a lot of things that people don't realize. They're like, well, since I'm an Arena player, Arena has to be in this. I paid $30, whatever, upwards of $100, and Arena is in this. I got ripped off. No, I think that, you're thinking of it horribly wrong, and you think that, Arena is the main game mode. It's not. It's really not. Arena 100% I think could be in the beta, which I'm fine with that. But this is alpha. I think a lot of people got that confused with their, I think there's a lot of criticisms on the game. And a lot of them are super harsh, but people don't realize that this is almost a friends and family alpha. I say friends and family, but it's like you pay in for it, right? Like, not a whole lot of people wanted to pay in for it, so not a whole lot of people played the alpha, right? So, like, learning or seeing that, wow, this is how this works is, like, really cool to me. But people that, complained the whole time, like, oh, it was just super frustrating for me, because this is an alpha. This is not beta. This is not game release, right? We have 13 gods. We have like 40 items to build, right? It's an alpha. And even, you get that message every time you loaded up the game saying, hey guys, just letting you know, this is a true alpha. Please take your time with us, right? Give us your feedback, right? They said that message every time I loaded up the game. I got like a 30-second to a minute long message about them talking about the alpha and how it's a true alpha. And then people complain that Arena's not in the game, or so and so isn't this. It's like, yeah, that's, there's going to be bugs, there's going to be issues. It's an alpha, right? Yeah, I know when I first got on, I had a lot of issues, just playing the game in general, because at one point I had a moment where just basically my entire screen would get like super crazy lens flares, and I'd have white squares all across my screen. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see walls. I couldn't see floors. I couldn't see enemy gods. I could only see their nameplates. So obviously that was super annoying. But then I just, restarted my computer, changed on some settings, and then boom, the game worked fine. Which, was while it's very frustrating, it's an alpha. That is going to happen, right? You're going to have issues like that that you obviously, you don't want them in the game, but they're going to be in the game, and that sucks to say, but it's just going to happen. That's just how alphas work. But yeah, I think my gameplay is almost done. Yeah, I only got 50 seconds left here. I'm just gonna do my outro, but I just want to say thank you so much for watching and listening to everything that I said. I know I talked about maybe not making this 20 minutes long, but I think that's what it's going to look like. If you have any comments or questions, or if you have any thoughts about, Smite Alpha or what you thought of the game, please don't feel, leave them down in the comments below. We can have a discussion about it. I love reading comments. I love responding to comments. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and peace.